I'm reviewing both games for the Megadrive and Genesis of Addams Family Values. It's based on a movie of the same name. Addams Family Values for Super Nintendo and Addams Family Values for Sega Megadrive. This game only got released on both these two consoles, I believe. I beat both games, it's both virtually the same apart from snow on the Super Nintendo version, where it's snowing, where you see it snowing in the Mega Drive version, but it keeps snowing in the SNES version. Where in the Mega Drive version, you don't see snow falling, but apart from graphics and that, I think that's the only difference out of the two versions. Both games play the same, it's the same bosses, the same music. Now what to think of this game, it's like an RPG, it's not an RPG, but it's like an RPG, Control Fester. It's based on a movie of the same name. The villain of the game is Debbie Zelensky, and your point is to rescue Baby, Gomez and Morticia's baby Pubert at the end, and then rescue him, and then that's the game over. And on the way you fight random bosses and find Granny, and she gives you cookies, and you get items off random characters you rescue and random characters before then. You just keep picking items up, and Granny, she gives you 4 kinds of cookies. Well, 3, but if you find an extra recipe, she'll give you 4, and I highly recommend you find the last recipe because the final boss is hard. I'll talk about that in a bit, but starts off, it's like an RPG, like I just said. It's not RPG, but it's like RPG. You talk to people, random characters, and you do different puzzles. And there's some character that's only in the game and it's not in the movie. Fester absolutely hates him. He's at the beginning of the game. You help him find his voice. I forget his name. Let me think, it'll come to mind, I think. Phoebe or something, I think he's called, but Fester hates him, no matter what. And he's not in the game for long, so both games are the same, like I just said, and you start off, when you start the game, you talk to Morticia and then Granny, then you talk to Gomez, and then you go in the first thing and fight with your first boss, very easy, and then it gives you a map of a place, and then I think you've got to go and find the key, and then you go in the greenhouse and there's some weird plant monster who follows you around. And he's actually the boss of that thing. He's with you at first, but then when you've took him someplace warm, he follows you in the greenhouse till you find a place warm, and then he leaves you, then you follow him, and then you fight him, and then when you beat him you take his plant food, and then the next boss is my hench. All the boss ups now are not really tough. And the next boss can be difficult because you don't beat him by frying him. You have a weapon, but you don't beat this boss by frying him. You've got to knock him in a hole. You can fry him all you want and never die. Then there's a blue monster who's not really difficult. And the second hardest boss in the game is a spider. I think that's the boss after that. And then there's a boss before the final boss who reminds me of Tinhead. He looks like Tinhead. For me, it should be the other way around. That boss should be before the spider because I think the spider's harder than him. And then you go in Zelensky's mansion, find her, and then beat her. Well, beat her cronies. You don't fight her, but once you beat the cronies, you then go in the next room where she's hiding, and you beat the game. Then she falls and dies, or whatever. It shows her falling, and then the next cutscene is the ending of the family thanking you for rescuing the baby, and then credits roll. What do I think of the game? I like it. I'd give this game a 10 out of 10. I mean, it gets mixed reviews, good reviews, bad reviews. I think it's a great game. I'd give it 10 out of 10. It's a fun game. Not really any differences out of the two. You start off with a weapon. It's the same weapon you have all the game, but more you get hurt, the lower it gets, which can be a problem. But the game's not too difficult as long as you find a walkthrough first time playing. Now the final boss is difficult. 3 forms. The first form for me is the hardest, where he throws fire and it's hard to avoid him. You've got to get there with all the cookies. because they all do random things, all 4 cookies. You think you need 2 cookies for each one, if you know what I mean. So there's should be 8 altogether. You need 1 of each. You can't like waste cookies before the final boss. You need them for this final boss because he is hard. 3 forms. Once you beat them, you beat the game. But there's other items too. But you need to save your cookies for the final fight. All of them, and then you should get through the game no problem as long as you save the cookies. So yeah, I was thinking what else I can say about these games. Absolutely amazing. Only downfall I can say about the games is they're very expensive. They're very expensive. I got this Super Nintendo version for Christmas last year, and I actually spent quite a bit of my working money, my savings, on the Megadrive version. They're both very expensive. That cost me 90 quid in English money, and I was told this cost 95 quid from a family member, the SNES version. But yeah, both games are the same, not really any differences apart from music and graphics. The game is amazing in every way. I mean, it gets a bit stick, but it's people I've read where they say they hate the game, they have no idea what to do. But that's a lot of games are like that. But I like this game. It gets too much stick in my opinion. Doesn't get a lot of stick, but it gets quite a bit of stick because it's confusing. I had to follow a map first time I played the game, but now when I play the game, I just know where to go. I have a good memory, see, so absolutely love this game. Just thinking what else there is to say before I end this video. Nothing much, just play the game. You'll have fun. I'd say this is as good as Festus Quest, in my opinion, and it's as good as any other Addams Family game. I mean, I like this game. Like I say, it's obviously based on the second movie of the same name, Addams Family Values. It's a great game. But with some characters that are obviously not in... Most of the characters in the game are not in the film, like all the bosses there, not in the film. But yeah, that's the only bad thing I say about the game is the price on eBay or Amazon, wherever you get them from. I only have eBay, so it's a fortune. Okay, thanks for watching. Both games, about the same. 10 out of 10.